I gotta say, New Amsterdam Radio is brought to you in part by Anchor FM. Have you ever thought about making your own podcast? You see, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? And most importantly, I don't want to deal with cables and wires and all those things. You see, the answer to every single one of these questions is pretty simple. Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And you can use your phone, which is pretty awesome. Now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. So if you ever wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. What's going on, everybody? It's Flobo Boyce, and you're tuned into New Amsterdam Radio, the show for creatives like yourself who are working on the next greatest thing, your magnum opus, especially if you're like me and in lockdown. But what are you working on these days? Let me know. I mean, I'm over there on Twitter, at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram, at Flobito, and of course, Flobito.com. And New Amsterdam Radio has grown by leaps and bounds, and I realized about maybe a month and a half ago that I have to take this seriously. I used to come in, do an episode, and leave. I get the urge, the inspiration, I'll do an episode, and pretty much leave it be every couple weeks or so. And I realized, a lot of the craft comes from not having the ideas or the execution, but the repetition. That's the difference between someone who does it for a hobby and someone who does it as a craft. Sometimes I know LeBron James doesn't feel that great about training or practicing, but it's something that he has to do if he wants to maintain the status of either the top or one of the top practitioners of his particular ply or trade, in this case basketball. So, that's why I decided to get on it, and I was actually worked out in my favor. A lot of great guests have come through in the show, had a lot of great conversations, and let me know if you guys want more guests on the show, or if you like it when it's just solo, just you and me, just chatting about what's going on. I can tell you what's going on. It's 2020. It's an election year, and that means everyone is pretty much gearing up to pick a side when it comes to this year's election. And my own personal feelings about the whole process aside, I do feel like it's important that you go out there and vote for the person you believe should be the best person suitable to run the country here in the United States. But that really begs a bigger question. We talked about this before in earlier episodes, but it's about the political nature of your work. Should you engage in politics? We talk about brands needing more and more need to have a personality. Everyone wants to know what you're about or how you were founded or where you start, whether or not they should support you. And a lot of times political or ideological things kind of roll into that. If you're an environmental person and you have an environmental brand, that's part of your fabric of what you're doing. But what about if you're just someone who likes to create? What if you're just a rapper that just has songs about growing up in your individual life? If someone asks you who do you vote for or what do you support, do you have to weave that into your music? Do you have to talk about what that means in your persona inside and out? These are things I wonder. And we're probably going to get more in depth with that. Actually, I won't say probably. We will get more in depth with that after this. Hey there, citizens. Flobo here. Besides being a DJ or MC and an all-around nice guy, I am a stand-up comedian first and foremost. In fact, my album, American for Now, is available wherever you get your music. We're talking Apple Music, we're talking iTunes, we're talking Spotify. American for Now is just a crazy take about one person's first-generation experience being in this country when it comes to taking your mom out to Memphis or serving jury duty and much, much more. The album was called American for Now, and it's by me, Flobo Boyce. Comedy unfiltered. I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but about this time last year, I decided to run for political office. It was for neighborhood council in my neighborhood in Los Angeles as a business representative, which means, like, because I am self-employed with my crafts of comedy and DJing and basically live entertainment, was that I'll be looking out for the interests of small business in my neighborhood. Now, that seems very local. In fact, it is. It's hyper-local politics. But in Los Angeles, you still have to register with the city as if you're a part of a city council within a city council. You take the same ethics courses, the same city management courses like you would if you're running for mayor or comptroller or something like that. So it kind of was a big deal. All my friends told me it was a good idea to go and try. The youth needs to go out there and get more involved, even though I think I'm old in the grand scheme of things when it comes to politics. I'm still a spring chicken. There was one friend of mine in Florida who is actually a politician, and I won't say what district or what side he was on, who pulled me aside and goes, "Hey man, I want to support your campaign, but you just let me know what party you're running for." That really put me back, and I was like, well, it's nonpartisan, but it made me wonder, like, well, would your perception of me change if I had a side? And if I created anything after that, well, that influences people's decisions to either use my product or service or book my product or service. How many times we had this where we liked a movie star or actor and we found out something really bad happened to them off camera and we go, once I heard about this happened to that guy or that gal, I really can't see the movie the same way anymore. I can only imagine political beliefs have to roll into that, and that's something you can't avoid because, frankly, you should be true to yourself, and who you are is who you are. So when you're creating a product or service, that may not necessarily have that kind of ideology baked in. Let's say you like to fix action figures for toy collectors, but you have a conscious effort of, putting symbolism on your website that alludes to a belief, or have a page about all the charities you support and things like that. Should you do that? Well, there's two schools of thought. One, modern marketing says, well, yeah, you got to make sure that people know who you are in and out, and you're as transparent as possible. And so that actually may bring in the kind of clients you want to have. Traditional marketing, and some people even say, no, your job is to do what you do, right? When I turn on a comedy show, I want to laugh. I don't want to be told what to think, for example. It's kind of two different schools of thought. And I was generally in the second camp. I would say, hey, look, my comedy is not political in nature. When I make things, it's just me keeping it nice. And frankly, most people don't really ask or go out their way to ask you. But it's not to say the other way is wrong. You see, if you're someone that works really hard on their craft, whether it's painting a house or coming up with great dance routines that Hollywood superstars perform at Super Bowl halftime shows, and someone pulls you inside and says, I want to get to know you. What makes you tick? Why are you an icon or on the rise? Why are you a future legend? And you say, hey, look, I believe this is how I was raised, this is my environment, this is what I think we can all do. As long as you're not being hateful to anybody, why not? That makes your story that much more unique and your fingerprint that much more distinct. Now, I'm not saying go out there and grab a flag of your choice, start waving it around town, but I'm just saying don't shy away. Because now more than ever, we're really more open and accepting for picking a side. In fact, maybe not picking a side at all can do more damage than good. Hey, I just want to say thank you so much for checking out this edition of New Amsterdam Radio. Make sure you check out this episode and all the other episodes wherever you stream. We're talking Spotify, iTunes, all that jazz. Of course, my name is Flobo Boyce, and you can visit me over at flobito.com. That's FLOBITO.com. And if you can, please support new content and exclusive extended interviews of this show over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/Flobo Boyce. New content's being uploaded on average twice a week, maybe more. But we definitely have some photos, some stories, some classic videos and clips I've worked on, and of course extended, unabridged New Amsterdam radio interviews. So please check that out if you can. But until next time, the city is yours.